Well, good evening, everybody. And on behalf of Oasis Travel, I want to really welcome you all to our virtual event this evening. Now, judging by the wonderful numbers that we have tonight, Canada is something that really people are very excited about. And I know that some of you who are watching had holidays booked to see the Rockies last year. Those holidays were moved to this year, and you have had to move those holidays again until next year. So, it's been really building up the excitement and the anticipation. Everybody's starting to laugh at me in the office now because nearly every time we do one of these presentations, I start by saying, this is something I really want to do, or it's something that's really on my list. And my list is just getting longer and longer, but the Canadian Rockies and the Rocky Mountaineer is definitely something that I am planning to do for next year. I've been to sort of Banff and Lake Louise on a ski holiday, and just whenever I was visiting the Banff Springs Hotel and the Chateau Lake Louise, I thought I definitely need to come back here in the summer and just do the Rocky Mountaineer and do this properly. So tonight we are joined by two lovely ladies. We have Hazel Mansell from Rocky Mountaineer. Hello, Hazel. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. It's lovely to be here. I'm great. Thanks, Sandra.
Yeah, and also we're joined by Stephanie Robertson from Canadian Fair Holidays.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening. Thanks so much, ladies, for giving up your evening. Look, Canada actually has become really popular since we've started to take new bookings in January. We found that Canada is just sort of right up there in people's list of to do. And I sort of partially think it's because last year and sort of part of this year, especially the Rocky Mountaineer, it seems to be something that people do for special anniversaries or for special birthdays, and nobody's had the opportunity to do that, and they're not cancelling them, they're postponing trips. So, are you both ladies finding that that business is good and that the interest is there for next year?
Yes, we've found. Yeah, I'll let you go first, Hazel.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. Everyone is so keen to travel again. We've seen a lot of demand for our holidays. We've seen a lot of guests rebooking because unfortunately we had to suspend last year. So we've had a lot of guests who have rebooked with us for this year, which is fantastic. And we're seeing great interest for 2022 as well. I think Canada has so much to offer. It's a country with so many great attributes, and Western Canada, which is home to Rocky Mountaineer, which is very special to my heart, is certainly a fantastic area to spend some time. There's just so much to do, and I think having those wide open spaces are just perfect for that special holiday. And as you say, lots of guests will travel with us to celebrate special occasion holidays as well as retirement. So it's on that kind of iconic must-do holiday. So it's very much on people's wish list.
Great, okay, Hazel.
Exactly the same for Canadian Affair. That's exactly the situation we found ourselves in. Particularly the last 2-3 weeks, we've seen bookings increase, new interest for next year, particularly for the Rocky Mountaineer. And like you say, it's something that people do for a special birthday or a special anniversary, always on the bucket list. But it's sort of gone up the level, right to the top of the bucket list at the moment. So it's great. And I think partly because Canada as a destination is so safe to go to, the open air. I could throw figures at you in terms of population, but we can talk about that afterwards. But it's just a fabulous destination, and thankfully, people are choosing it to have their first holiday back, which is great news.
Thanks very much, Stephanie. It just seems idyllic. There's never any bad press about Canada. It always just seems right up there. Okay. If anyone wants to ask any questions, I know I've had a few questions emailed to me, but do feel free to type it into the Q&A button and we'll take questions at the end. So without any further delay, then we'll start with Rocky Mountaineer and Hazel's presentation. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Hazel Mansell, National Sales Manager for Rocky Mountaineer in the UK, and I'm delighted to have this opportunity to talk to you about the award-winning Rocky Mountaineer. Rocky Mountaineer offer luxury train journeys that showcase some of the most spectacular scenery that North America has to offer. Our trains travel only during the day from April through to October, and we've been welcoming guests from around the world for over 30 years. We're a must-do travel experience offering unparalleled journeys in our spacious glass dome coaches thanks to the incredible scenery, delicious cuisine, attentive service on board and our friendly social atmosphere. Before we look into the routes that we offer along with our levels of service, I'd like to share with you a short video to really set the scene. I just love seeing that video and I really hope you enjoyed it too. So let's look at our rail routes. We have 3 different rail routes to choose from which connect Vancouver to the Canadian Rockies towns of Banff, Lake Louise and Jasper in Western Canada. We offer 2 2-day rail journeys and 1 3-day rail journey. Vancouver is our home base and the city to begin or end your journey on every Rocky Mountaineer route. With a backdrop of mountains, glistening ocean waters, Vancouver offers everything visitors would expect from a world-class city. There's some beautiful beaches, there's a wide variety of activities, lots of dining options and shopping options, so it's really easy to see why this is one of Canada's top destinations. And if you haven't been to Vancouver before, I'd really recommend that you include at least 3 nights stay when you're building your dream Western Canada holiday. There's also the cruise port, which is well positioned in the downtown area, so perfect if you're planning to combine your Rocky Mountaineer holiday with a cruise to Alaska, which many of our guests do. So let's look at our routes, and the first one we'll look at is First Passage to the West. This connects Vancouver to the mountain towns of Lake Louise and Banff, and it's our most popular route, and we're the only passenger rail service on this historic Canadian Pacific track. It's really famous in history for uniting the country and connecting British Columbia to Canada over 130 years ago. The stunning route travels past key spots in Canadian history, such as the spiral tunnels, as well as the celebrated last spike of the Canadian Pacific Railway. So you really get to witness mountains and wilderness, much of it seemingly unchanged since the days of the first explorers to this region. So, as I mentioned, it's a 2-day rail journey. We don't have any sleeping accommodation on board our trains, so we overnight our guests in Kamloops, which is a town in the interior of British Columbia. So that's going to be your overnight stop for the night. It's a riverside city with lots of restaurants and pubs there and some really nice walks through the park as well. Then the journey, as I say, has the option of Lake Louise or Banff. So Lake Louise is a stunning, iconic turquoise blue lake. It's one of the most pristine and most photographed lakes that there is in the world. There's a beautiful little quaint train station there, and with the peaceful lake and the neighbouring mountains, it makes it one of these must-see locations in Western Canada. So on this particular route, on First Passage to West, you have the option of Lake Louise or Banff, and if you've picked Banff as your final destination with Rocky Mountaineer, then for many visitors this is the mountain town that they think of when they're thinking about the Canadian Rockies. It's Canada's first UNESCO protected park. It's a really picturesque resort town. There's mineral hot springs there, and with those backdrops of the mountains, it really does make it a popular tourist hotspot. So let's look at Journey Through the Clouds. This one here is also a 2-day rail journey travelling between Vancouver and Jasper, and it really does live up to its romantic name. This route weaves along the Fraser River, through craggy mountains, the rushing waters of the Pyramid Waterfall that you actually feel you're so close to, you feel you can almost touch it, as well as Mount Robson, which is the highest peak in the Canadian Rockies. You'll also have your overnight stop in Kamloops on this particular route before heading up into Jasper, the largest national park in the Canadian Rockies. It's a quiet, charming mountain town filled with great wildlife, incredible scenery, as well as some adventure, and it's an ideal location for those seeking some wilderness before or after your Rocky Mountaineer journey. And then the last of our routes is Rainforest to Gold Rush, and this particular journey is a 3-day journey. So this one connects Vancouver also up to Jasper with an overnight stay in Whistler and Quesnel. So this one really goes from one extreme to another. It traverses the world's largest temperate rainforest with its scattered islands, fjords, ancient cedars and towering peaks, and it really links to that arid landscape of the historic Caribou Gold Rush region. So although there's no gold left there, the area is still rich in natural beauty. And also on this particular route you'll also see Mount Robson, the highest peak of the Canadian Rockies. So your first overnight stop on this particular route is in Whistler. So home to the 2010 Olympic Winter Games. Not only is it a premier ski resort, but it's absolutely fantastic in the summer months as well. And it's really boomed into a culture capital for outdoor activities, art galleries, some great restaurants, luxurious spas and much more. Then you're going to the other hotel night stay on the Rainforest Gold Rush route is in Quesnel. It's originally an old mining town and it's really kept its old time charm as it's grown into an enchanting city in the north of the region. Okay, so we've looked at the routes, and just before we go on to looking at the levels of service, just to point out that our routes do also operate east or westbound, so that gives you flexibility of whether you want to start your journey in Alberta and then head over to British Columbia, or vice versa, so it gives you that flexibility. So looking at our levels of service, we have two different levels of service to offer: Silverleaf service and our Goldleaf service, both of which offer incredible views, great friendly service on board by our attentive hosts, and also delicious cuisine. So let's look at Silverleaf service. To begin with, our Silverleaf service features spacious single-level rail cars with oversized glass dome windows and gourmet meals plated to preference and served seatside, along with tempting snacks and complimentary beverages including wine, beer, spirits and soft drinks throughout the journey. We also offer a complimentary baggage delivery to your overnight hotel accommodation. So as soon as you step on board that glass dome coach, your job is simple. All you need to do is sit back in your large reclining seat, gaze out of the oversized picture windows and soak up that incredible scenery, with our host attending to your every need. And when it comes to the cuisine on board Rocky Mountaineer, each season our culinary team create a menu that showcases regional flavours and locally sourced ingredients such as fresh salmon, Alberta beef and local produce of the Canadian routes. In fact, in First Passages to the West and Journey Through the Clouds, the route actually passes by many of the farms where we source produce that is served on board, all of which have been paired with wines from the Okanagan Valley. So let's now look at our Goldleaf service. Our Goldleaf service features bi-level rail cars with domed windows in the seating area on the upper level and large windows in the lower level dining room, where meals are freshly prepared from a selection of regionally inspired dishes. At the end of each coach, there's also an exclusive outdoor viewing platform, which is perfect for taking in that fresh mountain air. Similar to our Silverleaf service, gourmet snacks and complimentary beverages are served throughout the whole journey, in addition to the complimentary baggage delivery to your overnight hotel accommodation. Stepping on board the bi-level Goldleaf service coach is a luxurious experience itself. The reclining seats are sumptuous, the windows truly panoramic, and the hosts wearing their welcoming smiles are an indication that it's going to be a special and unforgettable journey. The culinary magic in Goldleaf service is complemented by a team of onboard chefs and fresh, locally inspired ingredients. In the lower level, an elegant dining room awaits where guests have the opportunity to sit with other travellers and enjoy freshly prepared a la carte hot breakfasts and three-course lunches as the dramatic scenery unfolds outside the windows next to them. As mentioned in Goldleaf service, we have this exclusive outdoor viewing platform, and as you can see from this image, it does allow our guests to get closer to nature and really take in that fresh mountain air. And as the train is only travelling on average at 30 miles an hour, it does give you that great opportunity to capture those special photographic moments. So we've looked at the rail routes that we offer along with our levels of service. Now let's look at when to travel. And this is a really popular question that we're asked many times, of when is the perfect time to travel on board Rocky Mountaineer? And because we operate from April through to October, you have 3 different seasons to choose from. If you look at spring, as you'll see from this image here, you can still see some evidence of winter on the mountains. And to me, seeing those snow-capped mountain peaks really epitomises the Canadian Rockies. You may be lucky and even spot a bear coming out of hibernation. Then if we look into summer, you've got everything out in full bloom, you've got the baby animals out, and if you're planning to combine your Rocky Mountaineer holiday with a cruise to Alaska, then the summer is the perfect time for you. And then we move into autumn. The snow is starting to appear back on the mountains. You're still seeing that foliage. The animals are getting prepared for hibernation, but it really is a lovely time to travel also. Rocky Mountaineer has a selection of packages built around our train journeys, which include hotel accommodation and a wide selection of unforgettable activities, some of which you can see here, which include a scenic gondola ride and the Icefield Parkway tour. Additionally, Canadian Affair can really create your tailor-made holiday, and the options are endless. If you are considering one of our packages, then we have a promotion available for 2021 as well as 2022, so please ask us for more details. And as I say, those are applicable to our packages. You may also be planning a cruise to Alaska, and that's a perfect combination to your Rocky Mountaineer experience. It really does give you 2 big wow factor elements to your dream holiday to Western Canada. I do hope this presentation has inspired you to include Rocky Mountaineer in your future travel plans. And with fine dining, historic storytelling and stunning landscapes, a journey through the Canadian Rockies on board Rockymountain is quite simply unforgettable. All that's left for me is to say thank you for listening, and we look forward to welcoming you on board.
Hazel, that was great. Thank you very much indeed. A few people have sent in some questions, but I think we'll keep those just until the end and head over now to Canadian Affair and to Stephanie.
Here at Canadian Affair, we tailor-make every individual holiday. So when we are asked to include the wonderful Rocky Mountaineer, we have many itineraries that we can suggest to our clients. Let's take a look at a couple of them. Firstly, here's our Canadian Rockies by rail holiday. So departures can go from Dublin or Belfast, and after arriving in Calgary, we take a coach transfer into the mountains to Banff. It's one of the most popular towns in the Rockies, in a beautiful setting, and has great restaurants, bars and shops. After a couple of nights in Banff, we head off on one of the most scenic drives in all of Canada, travelling down the Icefields Parkway to the National Park of Jasper, passing through the route of the famous Athabasca Glacier. There's plenty to see and do here, and a visit to the Maligne Lake is a must. It's one of the most photographed lakes. You've probably seen the photos without knowing where it is. Take a look at the night sky here and experience the wonder of the stars in this designated dark sky preserve. So on day 5, we embark on the trip of a lifetime, the Rocky Mountaineer, heading for breathtaking scenery, beautiful landscapes and enchanting coastal mountain ranges, and a night in Kamloops. Eventually arriving in Vancouver, there is plenty to do there. Explore downtown Vancouver, Stanley Park, Granville Island, or maybe take one of the foodie tours. Or get out into the surrounding area and visit the Capilano Suspension Bridge and Park and go up Grouse Mountain. Don't forget you can upgrade to Gold Leaf, as well as upgrading flights and hotels along the way. Another popular addition to the Rocky Mountaineer is an Alaskan cruise, so let's take a look at our Rockies and Alaska cruise extravaganza. Again, we fly into Calgary, known as the heart of the New West, and after a night there, we take you up to Banff, where you can relax in the hot springs or head up Sunshine Mountain on a scenic gondola ride. Following on from Banff, we take you up to Lake Louise, which is known as the crown jewel of the Rockies. And be sure to have your camera ready. I've no doubt that you'll have seen lots of photos of this beautiful destination. On day 8, you board the Rocky Mountaineer, overnighting in Kamloops and seeing those wonderful scenes we've already talked about. Then spend 2 nights in Vancouver to give you the opportunity to visit all those places downtown and in the surrounding area. Then on day 11, you board your ship to Alaska. The Inside Passage is an enchanting scenic waterway which stretches from Vancouver all the way up to Alaska and includes some of Alaska's beautiful islands that you will see along the way. You can enjoy the sight of the majestic Sawyer Glacier en route to Juneau, Alaska's capital city, which is the first stop. The following day, arrive at Skagway, which is an historical town, and spend the day discovering the fascinating gold rush stories. Next day, enjoy a day of cruising through the astounding Glacier Bay. Keep your camera handy, it's a wildlife lover's dream. Humpback and killer whales are frequently spotted. We then go up to Ketchikan, which is circled by a lush green landscape, mountains sprouting out of the waters, breathtakingly beautiful, and explore the historical town. Next day, we return to Vancouver and eventually head home. So there's just 2 examples of how you can include the Rocky Mountaineer in your holiday to Canada. Hopefully we've given you some ideas and inspiration. So I'd like to thank you for your time, and I'm going to finish by playing one last quick message from Canadian Affair.
We've been exploring Canada coast to coast for almost 25 years. Let us take you on the journey of a lifetime. We'll show you epic landscapes, unique wildlife, vibrant cities, diverse culture, a vast, amazing country, Canada. We know it. That's why we love it. So will you. Canadian Affair, the UK's leading Canada travel experts. Talk with us or your local travel agent today.
Ladies, thank you very much indeed. You know, that was really great. And just after looking at some of those videos and seeing the presentation, I've no doubt that's definitely where I'm going to go next year. So we have had several questions just emailed through to us. So maybe just want to start with you, Hazel, on the train journey. So someone's asking, can you stay on board Rocky Mountaineer? Can you sleep overnight on it?
No, Sandra, sorry, I can't get my video working again, but unfortunately, oh, hang on a second, let me just do that now. Okay, there I am, back again. Yes, no, we don't have any sleeping cabins on board Rocky Mountaineer. So the great thing about our service, it's an all daylight service, so operates through the daylight hours, and then we overnight our guests in a comfortable hotel in Kamloops if you're on the first pass east to west route or journey through the clouds. And then if you're travelling on the Rainforest to Gold Rush 3-day journey, then you'll have your overnights in Whistler and Quesnel. So we like to overnight our guests in a comfortable hotel, so we'll take them from the train station to that hotel, and then we'll pick them up the next morning, take them back to this train station for the next day in the hotel, the next day on the train. And as I mentioned, another really convenient part is that we have a luggage delivery. So the great thing about luggage delivery is that we actually have that luggage delivery in their hotel, so it's waiting for them in their hotel room, and then it's also collected the next morning, and then it'll be dropped off at their final destination. So if they're on one of our packages, it'll be taken to their hotel, or if it's at the train station and they've organised you know, a package through Canadian Affair, then it'll be they'll collect it at the train station. So
okay, great. Okay, thank you. Hazel, again for you, Nicholas just asking if you're travelling on the Gold Leaf service and yes, you're staying overnight. Are there different hotels that you would use for your Gold Leaf customers than your Silver Leaf customers, or is the accommodation?
We just have it's just, yeah, we use a wide range of hotels. So in Kamloops, we use the sort of the best selection that there is in Kamloops for both our Gold Leaf and our Silver Leaf guests. But when we're in, and the same goes for Quesnel, but we're in Whistler, we're able to use the Fairmount properties, and then for our Gold Leaf guests, and then we use the Delta down in the village for our Silver Leaf guests. So that's the only difference that there is when you're travelling on the 3-day journey, which includes Whistler. Yeah. So there's a couple of different hotel choices there, but in Kamloops, and those hotels are assigned, we don't take requests on which hotels, you know, the group that we do actually use.
Yeah, the Fairmount hotels are wonderful, aren't they? You know, would you
they're fantastic. Absolutely.
John's just asking, would you have an approximate idea of the difference of the upgrade fare from silver to gold? Have you a ballpark?
Yeah, I mean, it is a few £100, so you know it's approximately, you know, £300, £350 it works out. We work in Canadian dollars, and then you know, partners like Canadian Affair, then they create the packages and you know, and convert it from there. So it's approximately that cost of rate of exchange, give or take a little bit. But it's definitely worth it, and especially when we've not been travelling for so long, it's definitely worth upgrading to Gold Leaf. Definitely something to treat yourself to when we come out of this lockdown.
There's two things I always answer, because obviously we get asked that question a lot, and it is well worth doing the upgrade. What I tend to say is, don't look at the additional cost as just one bulk cost. Divide it between the 2 days and the night journey, and suddenly you see a difference, because everything about you know, the food in Gold Leaf, and even to the point that I think you are in some ways more likely to see more of the wildlife. It's a different experience going in Gold Leaf. I always use the benchmark of what would I do if it was my mum and dad, and I would absolutely say yes, you know, upgrade. It is well worth the expense to do that. Same is if you have any clients that are normally cruise goers, then they wouldn't think twice about upgrading their cabin. It would, you know, they wouldn't think twice about doing an outside to an inside cabin, or getting a balcony on board, because it makes a difference to the experience. And I think that's what you've got to consider when you're looking at that difference in price. Don't be put off by it. It is a once in a lifetime journey. And I have to say, from having sold it for, goodness, over 20 years now, The one complaint I ever get about Rocky Mountaineer is, why didn't you force me to upgrade?
Yeah.
And because then they go off and do it again, and they'll pay it all over again, and then they go and do it twice, you know. So yeah, don't look at that supplement as a negative. It's an absolute positive and well worth doing.
Yes,
definitely.
And for a lot of our customers, it is a sort of a trip of a lifetime, something
Exactly
that a lot of people just do once, so it's probably definitely worth getting it right. So, you know, make sure we quote you for goat leaf as well as silver leaf.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, well, when
sorry.
No,
sorry, we're too passionate. That's the problem.
I know, exactly. I get so excited about it. But I think in gold leaf, you know, that's the thing. It is a bi-level custom dome, so you have got that upstairs seating area, so you do get to see the scenery, you know, from that elevated viewpoint. And you know, in terms of wildlife spotting, you know, in Silverleaf as well, you've got oversized picture windows, so you're not going to miss any of the scenery either, any of the wildlife. But from that higher elevation, you know, point in Gold Leaf Service, you do get that really great advantage of having those panoramic views. And also, you know, on the train, our hosts on board, they're all in radio contact with each other, so they're all in contact if there's any wildlife that's spotted further down the track. They will let, you know, the guests in their carriage know about it in advance. But also our guests are really good at calling out wildlife. You know, we get guests all the time that are like, bear on the right, bear on the left, and everybody's sort of like dashing to try and catch a glimpse of that wildlife. But when you're in Gold Leaf, absolutely, it's a really special experience. And the culinary aspect of it, I mean, I just love going downstairs for the dining and the private dining room downstairs. It's just got that real romance of the rails. You've got an a la carte menu, so you've got an extensive choice of freshly prepared cuisine. The food on board is fantastic in Silverleaf. Of course, it's absolutely delicious. It's the same quality of cuisine, so there's no compromise there. But just nice to have that, you know, a larger selection of menu choices when you're traveling Gold Leaf as well. But you've got that full bar service on both levels of service, so lots of nice drinks to enjoy throughout the journey. And as they say, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere, so it's never too early for a G&T on board Rocky Mountaineer.
Did you see, I don't know whether anybody actually saw, but last night on Channel 5, there was a program, I think it was Scenic Railways, and they showed the Gold Reef Rocky Mountaineer and everything that goes with it. I mean, fantastic opportunity to sort of have a look at what you've been talking about, Hazel, for sure.
Absolutely.
If anybody gets it on I would definitely advise you to do that.
Definitely. And the First Passage to West is the route that actually Michael Portillo travelled on. So when he joined us on the train, on one of his epic train journeys, he actually travelled on First Passage to West. You might have caught that on TV when you saw him. He took the role of a host to try and serve, you know, during the lunch service to some of our guests. So that was fantastic. It was a real hoot to see that. But that's the route that he travelled on. So yeah, there's been lots of great TV programs out there for rail journeys. So it's really great to see that.
Definitely, we've been selling it for years and years, and it's just exceeded everybody's expectations. Okay, just a couple of more questions. Rosemary's just asking about anybody travelling with maybe just a more limited mobility. Is that catered for, Hazel?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we have on our Gold Leaf service, we have a lift so that connects the 2 levels. We also have those little lifting platforms as well at our station. So as long as we know in advance, we just need to get a few details in advance, but we can absolutely accommodate guests with any mobility challenges whatsoever. And then in Silverleaf service, it's all the one level, so there's no challenges there at all. And also if guests are maybe need to be in their wheelchair, you know, on board, then we can also accommodate that. We just need to know in advance that we can actually, you know, make any adjustments that we have to do with any of the seating to accommodate any wheelchairs that need to be positioned on board. Just let us know in advance.
So final
and same goes for dietary requirements as well.
Yes, I'm sure you've been on the train several times. So Nicola's asking, if you had to choose, would you take a summer journey or would you look at the scenery in the fall?
Right, that's a really good question. I have been fortunate enough to be, I've worked with the company a long time, and I've been fortunate to be on all of the routes, and I've travelled in either direction as well, because again, that's something quite different, because you can, although you're on the same route, but travelling in a different direction, you just see things from a different aspect. Spring is my favourite time. I absolutely love spring because the snow's in the mountains, although there's still some ice in the lakes, which, you know, if you were going to maybe do a little lake excursion, then that, you know, that would be a wee bit tricky, but I love seeing the snow in the mountains. So springtime, I do love that. Summer is beautiful. You know, you've got those nice warmer days. But autumn is really stunning because you've got the full foliage. It's not quite as intense as you would have in New England. So it's not quite as intense foliage, but there is still that foliage experience. Some of the wildlife as well, some of the bears are starting to head back to, you know, get into their hibernation mode. So they might be heading to the back of the mountains kind of late autumn. Although I've still been fortunate enough to see bears in September and October. So
yes, because that's one of the
really
questions.
lucky.
So when somebody has asked, when can you see the bears?
Well, when can you see the bears? So they're coming out of
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, they're coming out of hibernation. So they're coming out of hibernation in the spring. And quite often, you know, I've seen them with little cubs, which has been absolutely special. It's such a great moment to see that. So they are coming out of hibernation. Then summer months, you know, they're out and about. So that's a really good time to see them. And as I say, when they're kind of getting into that September time, they do tend to be heading back to the mountains. However, when the salmon are spawning in the autumn time, there is those opportunities for, you know, for wildlife glimpses there, because they are unfortunately feeding on the, you know, the carcasses of the salmon, and it's an unfortunate thing, but it is, you know, part of the circle of life. And they, you know, there could be opportunities to spot the bears then. But probably summertime is probably your most, you know, likely. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but hopefully you're lucky. And, you know, you'll see eagles, you'll see osprey as well. We have giant osprey nests that are along the tracks. They're huge. And every time I see them every year, they seem to get bigger and bigger every year. So you do get to see some really nice wildlife there as well.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you.
And maybe some elk as well, you know. And elk's really popular up in Jasper, sorry. But elk is really popular up in Jasper. I've seen elk many a time just wandering down the main street, quite the thing, you know, just without a care in the world, which is quite a sight. Really special.
Amazing. Stephanie, Bertie's asking, what cruise companies do you use for Alaska?
Well, we use all of them. So any of the cruise companies that go, on this one, the example I showed you, it was Holland America, but obviously we use all of them. So it's down to, depending on what time of year they do go and how it works in with whichever date they choose to go on the Rocky Mountaineer. So it's all, you know, there's a lot of factors to put in there, but we tailor make every single individual holiday. So there's nothing set in stone. So if clients have got dates in mind, we can guide them and sort of explain they might need to go on one day before or one day after or whatever, and we'll combine it together and we'll give the different options then. If they have a preference to an actual company to go with, then we can work it around that and we'll work backwards. You know, whichever takes priority, whether it's the dates of the Rocky Mountaineer or the dates of the Alaskan cruise, we will fit that in and make it suit them. And then what we'll do as well is sort of advise if they want help as to how to combine it and what else to do around there, whether it is Vancouver or further afield, whether the boats are Whistler or whatever, we can give advice on that and we'll just make sure it fits their needs and wants, really.
And the wonderful thing is, I mean, that's the end of all the questions that I've got, but I think it's worth mentioning to people. The wonderful thing is that whenever we book the packages with Canadian Affair, that even though, you know, we're doing flights, we're doing the Rocky Mountaineer, we're doing cruises, if any one element of this holiday changes or alters, you know, the whole package is protected. We're not booking it in bits and pieces. It's all atoll protected. And I know we had a lot of people due to travel with you, Stephanie, last year that moved to this year. And I must say that your reservations team were absolutely fantastic. But I think that's important mentioning to people, because if they're traveling for one particular element and something goes wrong, particularly as we've seen in the last year, the whole package is protected.
That's right. And we've got this peace of mind policy. I did put it on one of the slides there. But just for your peace of mind, the most important thing is that once the package has been booked with us, if within 14 days of the scheduled departure, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, which is the FCO advice that comes up, if they advise against travel or they put a quarantine in place, you then have three options. So you can still go if you want, if you insist. You can change the dates of travel, or you can cancel it with a full refund within 14 days. Now, what we would always advise is to change the dates so that you've still got something. What we found talking to clients, psychologically, it felt better to change the dates for our passengers. And they were all saying, no, I still want something to look forward to. But the point is that peace of mind policy is there in place. you know, forever really, until things get back to some sort of normality. And I think it will just stay in place forever. Like you know, you said there, you know, we've got APTA, ATOL and CAA licenses, and we're protected with all that. So the client's money is protected. We pay a fee to protect the client's money. So they are fully protected. The fact it's booked as one package with us, like you rightly say, covers a whole sort of, you know, a field of horror stories that we've heard over the last 12 months that thankfully, you know, we weren't affected by and our clients weren't affected by. I just want to mention as well, Sandra, if I may, we are doing a special offer. So we're going to do a 2-week offer. So any bookings that are made from tomorrow over the next fortnight up to the 26th of March, I think it is, we're going to give 5% discount on all the bookings.
Okay. Bookings made with any of our offices?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah, it's specifically to Oasis. And even if you've got some clients that really wanted to attend tonight and had shown interest, but for whatever reason couldn't quite make it, but they've established that interest, and I know that you're going to contact a few more tomorrow, you know, any of those, so just let us know and we'll be happy to give that discount.
That's absolutely.
But we've got a great reservations team. We've got Canadian people that are working for us as well. All of the staff have to go out to Canada. Up to the pandemic, they had to go out twice a year, so everybody has a special area. Most have seen pretty much all sides of Canada, that's for sure. So we are experts, and you know, we're very lucky to have experts working on our res team.
That's brilliant. I know that our staff are just working on an e-blast, which will go out to everybody with sort of a couple of sample itineraries and prices. And just a reminder to everybody that while our offices are still closed, we have a small team working. So if you call any of your local Oasis Travel office between 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock, Monday to Saturday, your call will be answered. Or you can send an email to inquiries@oasis-travel.co.uk, or of course connect with us through social media. So just before we call it an evening, I just want to ask you both, when do you think Canada will be welcoming guests back?
Well, that's a very, very good question. I mean, I think if you spoke to any Canadian, they'd be begging you to come back now, but obviously the borders are closed. We've not been given any official date as yet. We do know that it's certainly going to be closed until the end of the summer, and we suspect that it might creep on into sort of the autumn and then possibly the winter. Their view is that they should be open for certainly the ski season. So those are the messages we're getting. But as you know, it's very difficult even to say, you know, when the quarantine and the corridors open for the UK, let alone trying to sort out what Canada are doing. You know, it's just going to be an as and when. I think it's the same for any destination at the moment. But yes, we foresee it to be the end of this year opening borders. We are finding, though, that most people are looking forward to travelling in 22, and that's where the bookings are coming in for. And what we're finding, as I said before, people are going the extra mile. So whereas maybe they would have just been booking, you know, holidays to Canada, what they're now asking for is extras. They want to upgrade the flights. They want to upgrade the Rocky Mountaineer. They want a better cabin on the Alaskan cruise. And they're actually making their holidays longer. So whereas before they've said, no, we'll do 2 weeks for Canada, they're now stretching it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and doing lots more. So it's great news for us and great news for Canada. And, you know, everybody that ever steps foot into Canada falls in love and has to return.
Okay. Stephanie, thank you so much indeed. Hazel, thanks to you too. And thanks to everybody who's joined us this evening. And we have recorded this presentation, so we'll send everybody out a recording tomorrow if we can. So we will have a couple more events next week. So just look out on social media and look out for our e-blast just for details on that. So thanks again for joining us. And whatever you're doing for the rest of the evening, enjoy it. Okay, good night, everybody. Good night.
Thanks, Sandra.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Thanks. Good night.
Night.